Gentlemen, to another great show of Chasing Liberty with Jake, and I am your host, Jacob Vanaplus. Joining me tonight here is my co-host with Looking Forward with Jess Hisel. How are we doing this evening?
Dag, I'm good, Jake. How are you, buddy?
I'm bald, bearded, and beautiful.
You must own a mirror. I love it.
Tonight we're going to have a conversation about a couple of topics. We're going to touch base on Social Security a little bit and healthcare. Some very big topics here in the United States of America, both of which are actually adding to our national debt inflation and the financial crisis that we have because our government can't do anything right. So, with that being said, healthcare. Okay. The healthcare programs that we have. Okay. The healthcare model. Okay. The fact that the consumer isn't directly paying for the healthcare costs is one of the single most drivers of healthcare costs. Okay. Because the hospital is not billing you as an individual, they're billing a multi billion-dollar organization and don't really care about the price. So, one of the biggest things is when you pull the consumer out of the price equilibrium, it drives up costs. Period. Every time. Okay. We also have cost plus pricing. Cost plus pricing is another huge driver of our healthcare costs, along with certificate of need laws. Now, Republicans and Democrats aren't going to bring this stuff up because this is the stuff that they use to keep their buddies' pockets lined with cash. Okay. And when you hear Republicans and Democrats talk about healthcare, they only talk about who's going to pay the bill. They never actually talk about why the bill itself is so high. This is where we come in. We're here to have honest conversations. And Jess also has some information for us here as well. So, Jess, what do you got?
Actually, you were just talking. Interesting. If you go to a doctor, you can ask them what their cash value is for whatever you're going to see them for, and they will tell you a different price than they're going to pay. Because if they bill the insurance companies, that's a different pay schedule. So you can actually ask for the cash value, and you can pay them that, and they wouldn't even turn it into their insurance companies or anything. It's amazing the different pay schedules between your Medicare, Medicaid, veterans, and then the insurance. It's a racket. They are trying to get the most money that they can. It's horrible. Um, we were talking about costs, so I started looking into some of the COVID costs that were happening. During the I know it was interesting. Back in July 2020, somebody over in Colorado stayed for 2 weeks in the hospital, and they had a bill for $840,000. There's another gentleman in Washington. They were there for 62 days. They had a pretty bad case. They got a bill for $1.1 million for 62 days. They were in the IC room and the ventilator and stuff like that, but $1.1 million. And well, the insurance picked up a lot of it, right?
I
They were making money hand over fist for the last 2 years. Nobody was even looking at it. And they just kept getting money and extra money thrown at them. They had made a racket off of it. The last 20 years, it has our healthcare costs have went up by 411%.
It's about right.
400. That's insane. What happened to the Affordable Care Act? That actually made it worse. If you look at the hospital costs, but then again, when you write bills and in a closed door session with five people in there and Nancy Pelosi's leading it, what do you expect?
I expect it to go up 400%.
You expect it to go up 400%. Yeah. So they have a charge to cost ratio. So that 411% increase, they are making especially off your for-profit hospitals, not your not-for-profit, your for-profit hospitals. Some of them are making an average of 417%. So that means for roughly every $100 you pay, they're only paying $25 for the care, and they're making that extra profit.
It's insane. No, I
It's
understand
insane.
there's overhead and stuff like that, but just taking a look at even the healthcare, just for my health insurance to cover my family, I'm paying over $400 a month. We're young, don't really go to the doctor. I haven't been to the. I mean, I've got the VA insurance on top of that, but in order for me to actually cover my wife and my children, I still have to go and buy external health insurance because the
Yeah.
VA doesn't cover my family. Yeah, that's healthcare is expensive, and it should be. And the cost of it is what actually deters people from going to the hospital to begin with. Because if they get slapped with a bunch of bills, people are like, I'm going to walk it off. I'm not going to take care of it. That's what regularly, and I'm guilty of it myself. I don't have the money to pay for the deductible because The premiums are breaking the bank to begin with.
In 2018, 78% of people avoided hospital visits. 44% of those people were because of the high medical costs. So you're exactly right. People aren't going there because they don't want to get a $200-300 bill after the insurance pays their, so they have to pay that portion. And that's not counting the people with huge deductibles.
Yeah. And now if you couple that with the mental health crisis that we're facing in this country, and you wonder why no one's getting help, because you break the bank. So you
Yeah.
got to go and talk to a counselor once a week to get back on track. Guess what? That's it's $100 a month or $100 a week minimum, and that's before. This is why people aren't going to get the help. It's the cost of the healthcare. Now, what ends up happening more often than not is the government steps in and says, "Let us fix it." No, okay. The government solution is typically uh, worse than the actual problem itself. Okay, every time the government tries to fix it, every time the government has done anything at all with healthcare, the cost has gone up and made things worse. Okay, healthcare should be left within the free market and to actually be able to compete. If we do need to have healthcare programs set up, I'm all for that, and we can work out like cost share programs within our local communities or at the local level. Okay, so for instance, when I worked one of my past employers here, it was an 80-20 program. Okay, so I, as the employee, paid 20% of the premiums, the employer paid 80% of the premiums, and then I still had a $10,000 deductible on top of
Holy
that.
shit.
Yeah,
You had a
it was
10,000?
it was a $10,000 deductible, and it was costing me $600 a month.
It discourages people to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it blows my mind. But now
Yeah.
think about this. Think about this, okay? All of that money in premiums and deductibles, all that goes to the insurance company, and then they dole out payments. More often than not, you then got to go and fight the insurance company to actually get the bill paid and jump through hoops of fire. Oh, that wasn't pre approved. Kiss my ass. It wasn't pre approved. The doctor said I needed to go here and see this specialist. How was that not pre approved? I'm listening to the doctor. Well, that's enough. Okay. If we were able to take all of those funds, all of those premiums, all those deductibles, and put it in a health savings plan at your local level, at your local county level, after a couple of years, you have enough in there for everybody to go to the hospital. Say, take Door County here. Okay, we have a big medical facility, state of the art medical facility, lots of resources. If all those premiums came in and stayed at the local level, guess what? We could fund all of that. And when the pot of money is big enough, we can start reducing those premiums. The issue is the middleman. Okay, you cut out the middleman. You cut out the insurance companies. If you go to any major city, guess who's got the biggest, most beautiful buildings? The insurance companies.
All right. So you got HCA Healthcare, a big healthcare company. Out of the top 100, they own 53 of the top 100 for profit hospitals. They're getting on that charge to cost ratio over 1,800% or 1,800%. 1,800% on charges. Their CEO makes a little over 30 million. Your CEO of Exxon makes 28 million, Chevron 24 million, Halliburton 21 million. They're making more money than oil companies. Okay. So you were just talking about something about opening up competition and making it fair and let everybody compete. I'm all for that. But the hospitals are creating a monopoly right now where they can control the prices. So they're buying up all these other smaller healthcare, the clinics and stuff like that, and they're throwing their price structure and their pay schedules in there and either forcing the doctors to stay or go somewhere else. They're creating a monopoly. So, you talk about letting them compete, but they're greed and they are just out to make the millions of dollars. And who's at fault? The consumers. It's just like what's happening today with pick anything with inflation. The consumers are at fault. We are taking the brunt of everything for their greed. So I think I would be very careful in making sure that you can bust up those monopolies and say this is bullshit. You can't have an $1,800 charge to cost ratio.
Yeah,
That's gouging.
One of the things that actually helps build that monopoly is actually the certificate of need laws. Okay, if you're a doctor who wants to open up a practice or expand your practice, you have to go and get permission from an unelected board of bureaucrats to do so. Okay, so it's those certificate of need laws that hold back new doctors from starting new practices, and this is why you see the small mom and pop family practices disappearing, and you see the Bellins and the purveyors keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because you're right, it's become an industry. It's no longer about taking care of patients, it's about continuing to turn patients through. Now your doctors at these big major clinics, they're required to see X amount of patients in order to keep the profits up or whatever it may be. Now you're opening up the door for mistakes and malpractice suits. So now you got to charge even more after that. Doctors are getting burnt out. It's a terrible, terrible setup. Okay. We have to start getting back to the way things were. And every time we look at the problems that we do have within the medical industry, we see that the government is the problem, or the government regulations are.
Remind me to tell you about a doctor that does mental health over by Milwaukee. It's disgusting. I'll tell you that in a minute. Maybe that's a little teaser. Um, nice. Out of the industrialized nations, the U.S. is the worst for highest costs and worst health outcomes. We have the highest chronic disease burden. Our obesity is 2 times higher than the second one. The lowest life expectancy, highest rate of suicide, highest number of hospitalizations for preventable causes, and the highest rate of avoidable deaths. If we truly spent that much, in which we do, we're higher than anybody else. Why are we worst? Why are we last? So it comes down to also the care that you're getting. It's shit care. It is absolutely shit care. And some of this is obviously a person's lifestyle. Totally get that. And some people got to take into account some of that stuff. But we're still the worst. It's disgusting where we're at.
It's not a good situation.
No,
We got other
no.
topics coming in here. Are we sure we're live? We should be live, yeah. To the audience out there, don't be afraid to comment. If you got questions, go ahead and throw them up there. We'll be able to answer them.
Hey, where are you at with Medicaid? So they remember a couple of years ago they were going to try to open up Medicaid to see, what was it? They were going to go from $12,760 for the low poverty threshold, and they were going to move that to $17,600. So all they were really doing was moving up that poverty line a little bit. They were going to get I would think it was like 175,000 extra residents in Wisconsin. But the federal government was going to pay, I believe it was like 90% of that. And then Wisconsin was going to be on the hook for like 10%. And granted, that was going to change over time because the federal government never follows through with any of the shit that they're saying. But Wisconsin didn't follow through with that. And the Republicans voted it down. Democrats wanted it. So there's your party line stuff. And again, the consumers were at fault for that. So I guess where are you at with the Medicaid to be able to open that up to a higher level for the poverty line?
That goes back to my first idea of bringing everything back down locally. Okay, if the federal government has money to be able to pay 90%, they've taken too much in tax dollars, and they should give it back so we can afford the health care here within our own hometowns.
Yeah.
Okay, when you start working together within your own communities, okay, we can help our own communities, especially those that are less fortunate. Okay, I'm not saying it's a perfect system, but I promise you it's better than what we've got now. Okay, this is the stuff that we got to start working towards. These are the better ideas. So opening up Medicaid, Medicare for all, or even Medicare, or even bumping up that threshold, that's going to leave us in the same position that we are. It's going to make matters worse, and it's going to drive costs even farther up, where people are going to get higher costs and less care. We got to bring everything local. Is it going to be a big step? Yeah. And two, we do have to pick up the monopolies. That's going to be the hardest part. Okay, that's what's really going to be difficult, is the big dollars and the legislation that is in place to protect that.
Yeah. I don't know. I look at Medicaid as having a different schedule because out of the three, I think it's the second one from the lowest because your VA schedule is the lowest. And then I think it's Medicaid, and then it's Medicare, and then your highest one obviously is your private with your insurance company. So yeah, but Medicaid does hold them. That's why a lot of the hospitals, some of them won't take Medicaid because they say it's such a low rate for them that they're not going to accept it, which is bullshit. They can make it. Yeah.
Start making the profit margins.
Right. They can't afford those new buildings with all glass in the front and the curved architecture with the 80 million skylights that all leak. You want to go prescription drugs or you want to go mental health care? What do you want to talk? What's next? I know.
Let's do prescription. There's so much. Let's do prescriptions.
I feel like we need a wheel. Like we'll just spin it. The topic wheel.
Next topic.
We're getting a topic wheel, damn it. That's on the agenda. All right, prescription drugs. 77% of people think that the market's unreasonable, and they're exactly right. We know the prescription drugs are just way out of control. So there's something called a pharmacy benefit manager. It's called PBM. So back in the 1980s, these organizations were started because doctors didn't have the internet. They didn't know what drugs were coming out or anything like that. So there's this group of PBMs that got together and says, hey, we'll help you find the right drugs. All right, cool. So they went out to all the manufacturers and they, worked with them to figure out which ones were the best ones. And they brought that back to the doctors. And doctors were like, yeah, all right, cool, thanks. We'll get that one. But in the late 1980s, they gave the PBMs the power to procure at the same time. So now they can buy the drugs for the doctors and the pharmacies and they can sell it back to them. So now you've got these people cutting into their profits of the between the doctors and the pharmacies, and they're taking money off the top. So they're the middleman that now that the internet's here and we have way better systems all out there, that they can find the answers. They have all kinds of lobbying people that go around to say, hey, here's our new drugs. This is what they do. And they're better than the same ones they've had for 40 years. Yeah.
I'm more concerned about the labyrinth of protections that's in place for the pharmaceutical companies, especially with the patents. I mean, when you're talking to their investing and the time to test, usually a patent for a new drug is about 20 years, and it usually takes them about 15 years or so to actually develop and test that drug. So that patent window is only about 5 years. Then what they'll go do is they'll go through and they will change one little molecule or change the color of the pill, completely repatent it, and then get an additional 20 years locked into that patent.
Yeah.
Okay. Locking in those drug prices in that patent is what squashes out competition for generic drugs to be made. When you lock that stuff in, that's what affects the consumer in the most negative possible way. Okay. Again, competition is always best for the consumer. And when you have these long, super long patents that are put in place, guess what? It negatively affects the consumer, and we don't get the drugs that need to be done in the market. Okay. Now, I understand it takes millions and sometimes billions of dollars in testing for these drug companies to develop and test and so on and so forth, and that short little window of actually being able to sell with the patent barely recoups that. But guess what? We can still do something. Maybe we shorten up that second patent, just an additional 5 years versus 20. Okay, that's extraordinary. Okay, and maybe it shouldn't.
You should go to the piracy party.
The fire party. Oh, we got our first comment in here. It says, "Can't hear you." Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Wonder who she can't hear. Wonder if it's both of us. It's gonna be funny. We've been sitting here talking for a while and not hear us. Which one? We'll go. Which one or both of us? That'd be awesome.
Oh, you're on it. Looks like it's me. I got another message here.
Oh, she can hear you now. There you go, buddy. You're back in.
Is this better?
Oh. Look at you with your fancy microphone.
Yeah. I'm not gonna sing though, because I can't carry a tune even if it was strapped to my back.
You should put some Velcro on that and see if you can just stick it to your beard. And just follow it everywhere. Hey, we're talking about open up the markets, and why can't we just open it up to Canada, to Europe, to all the other countries? And there's
free trade.
Free trade. Weird how that works, isn't it?
That would actually help a whole lot right now with the baby formula shortage. I mean, just with the baby formula shortage right now, there's plenty of baby formula in the world. The issue is the labeling requirements to the FDA.
Yeah,
So as long as if we are able to change the labeling requirements for the FDA, guess what? We'll have plenty of baby formula. We can get it from Canada. We can get it from over in Europe. It's the labeling. It's the federal regulation again that is withholding stuff and hurting American families.
they just reached out to Mexico, so now they're getting it from Mexico. They did get some from Europe. Some shipments in from they brought them in the planes, and that was actually better than the baby formula from the U.S. So it would be
Shocker.
awesome to keep that. Shocker, I know, right? Weird how that works. Hmm. Hey, we were talking about PBMs. I want to show something here really quick. See if I can bring it up. This is the EpiPen. Okay, so if you're going to buy these, of course, there's different ones for different insurance, right? But if you're going to buy the Mylan, makes it for $274. These pharmacy benefit managers and health insurers, they're taking, and with your brokers, $284 of that. And then you got a wholesale, and maybe you got a copay or something. That's where you're getting your $608. But what is that? About 40, roughly 45% ish is coming from pharmacy benefit managers. Today, we know where to get EpiPens. We know. We don't need a middleman for it. Absolutely not. Here's another one. Eli Lilly, insulin. So they are making it for 135. Again, your pharmacy benefit managers, health insurers, they're getting 432 of that. So yeah, and that's 594 that patients are paying for that. Isn't that insane?
So I want to stop you right there
73%. Damn.
now, and I'm gonna kind of switch topics here on the fly. Oh, put that back up. Put that
Oh,
back up.
I got carried away. Gary,
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. It happens to the best of us, especially on this show here. So I want you to apply this same model here to milk. Okay. The 135, that's for your farmer. The guy in the middle, that's your processors and your pasteurizers. The guys over here at the end, that's your grocery store. It's the same exact thing that happens within the milk industry, and this is why the small farmers are getting squished out too.
yeah.
Sorry for switching gears, going from pharmaceuticals to cows.
No, it's still June Dairy Month. You've
It
got
is.
you got what 9 more days, 8 more days to talk about it.
I have specifically eaten cheese every day for Dairy Month.
Hey, at the end of this, if you give me a couple seconds, I'll bring you up my one TikTok video. It's about June Dairy Month. It's freaking
Excellent.
hilarious.
Excellent.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that was where we got Humana and pharmacy benefit managers. So that's what they do. It's absolutely a racket. So prescription drugs is easy to fix. In Wisconsin, had a chance to do it about 3 years ago, but oh god, Robin Voss kept it from the floor.
Weird.
So I know, right? I
Shocker.
wonder why you do that. I wonder if it had anything to do with campaign contributions.
If I were a betting man.
Right? Let's play with mental health care really quick. And then we'll
Yes.
yes. How messed up is this, right?
Mental health is absolutely critical, and we have a mental health crisis in this country that none of our elected officials are taking nearly as seriously as it needs to be. Okay. We have, so for me personally, one of the things that I advocate for very, very strongly and work very, very hard to try to prevent and to change or make an impact on is veteran suicide. We still have 20 veterans a day that are committing suicide. That's why I have my farm. That's why we've got veterans that are coming out here. We have 4 veterans that are here on a regular basis, all spending time with each other, getting their hands in the dirt, playing around with the goats, chasing the chickens out of the greenhouse because they're eating my cucumbers. That's a different story. But but mental health is something that needs to be addressed and addressed seriously. And what we're seeing right now with the gun legislation that is coming down, you're seeing something called red flag laws that are coming into place. And this is a piece of legislation that completely bypasses due process and is not going to help uh, convince people to go and get mental health care. Okay, we also have a shortage of mental health care providers within this country. It's not exactly a field that a lot of people are getting into. That needs to change as well. And I'm not exactly sure how to change that, but we can make a bigger impact by doing simple things like not being an asshole to some people. Okay, for some reason, but seriously, all the time that we spend on Facebook, there's a lot of people that are very, very comfortable saying stuff across social media that you wouldn't normally say face to face to other individuals because you'd probably get punched in the mouth. But here we are in social media, really blasting stuff. That is an issue. Let's be nicer to one another. Let's love thy neighbor. Okay. If you do and are having mental health issues, there are hotlines all over the place. Please call. Please, please, please call. There's veteran suicide lines. There's normal suicide lines. There's tremendous opportunities for that. Please call and get yourself acquainted with some organizations. Okay, volunteer. For some reason, volunteering helps me tremendously. So being a part of your community is going to help, but we have to start taking mental health way, way more seriously. And the red flag laws that are being signed into, well, I hope don't get signed with this next federal gun ban bill, but that's going to deter people from going to get the help that they need. That's working backwards.
Yeah, I'm looking. We're talking about mental health care and help. There's some in Wisconsin here that I will bring up. I got some flyers when I was traveling around last year at some county fairs. They're absolutely amazing. But I'll put the flyer up here. I'll put it in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Talking about how people are doing nothing for it. So Mr. Tony Evers campaigned on the Lincoln Hills Juvenile School. Okay. He said, I'm going to clean this up. So this is already a mental health care facility, obviously, for the juveniles here in Wisconsin. Since he has taken office, 75% of sexual misconduct has gone up. The youth battery has gone up 177%. Your group disturbances, 158%. Staff injuries have gone up 4,700%. 32% of the staff are gone. There's vacancies. There's life threats to the staff and their families all the time. They're not fixing that stuff. It's absolutely disgusting. So they'll campaign on it and they'll talk about it, but they're not doing anything with it. Another example, in 2014, Dr. Ronald Rubin, this is one of the teaser from earlier. There was I think it was a 16-year-old that he started giving counseling to without her parents' permission. He ended up giving her marijuana. He was over medicating her, no parents' consent. And when their parents turned him in, they found out they had 9 counts of overprescribing to strippers and sexual charges to strippers. The Wisconsin Medical Examining Board reviewed this, continued to let him practice. He still practices today over in Milwaukee. His ex-wife had testified against him to the board and said that, yes, this is a problem. But the Wisconsin Examining Board let him go, and he's still practicing today. You were talking about ways to fix this. If you graduate from a state, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin or something like that, your retention rate for those people that have went to school in the state are about 60 to 70%. The best way to help out your professional mental health nurse practitioners, PMNHCP, the best way to help them is to retain the people that are going to college today. The people that are graduated from University of Wisconsin right now could not get appointments to take their tests from the state. They were backlogged. They messed up the process to the whole thing, and they're finally able to get in. But the people that got in had clerical issues, so they could not get their licenses. They're still trying. Some people have given up and already went to other states. I have the students working for me that know this. The best way to fix retention is to go after your own right here in Wisconsin for your colleges. Sorry, I went on a rant.
Oh no,
That was beautiful. And what we see more often than not is we'll see our legislature go through and pass legislation and then have no idea the actual nuts and bolts of that program and what is actually needed to facilitate it.
Yeah.
Okay, like here in the state of Wisconsin, they once upon a time they actually approved hemp, so you can go through and legally grow hemp on mass scale. Guess what? There's no way to there's no market for it here in Wisconsin because none of the businesses are actually set up to process it. Okay. They got the cart of the head of their horse. And on top of that, you actually had to have it tested. Okay. Because once you let it to grow and it gets to a certain level of certain size or whatnot, it starts to grow in a level of THC, which then turns into marijuana, and which then becomes illegal. Okay. So what ended up happening, I think it was the first year that they had it passed, the state of Wisconsin didn't have enough testers, and those testers weren't making it out to the fields in time. And by the time they finally did get there, the THC content was so high, they mowed the whole thing down and burnt the fields down. Wish I was standing close to them fields, but that's another story.
That was where my comment was going to go, but yeah, yeah,
But that's the thing. We see over and over and over again our legislatures passing laws or creating programs or requirements to abide by, and not having the resources to actually be successful with it. This is what happens when you have people legislating things they have absolutely no clue about. Okay. That's why local communities are where it is at. Okay. The state government, you can't do that stuff. This is where the federal government is even less of an apt tool for solving problems because you're trying to pass legislation that affects 330 million people. Okay. You're not going to know all the detailed nuances that and how things actually are going to fall into place when that legislation gets passed. Okay. Now think of it this way: they go through and they pass these red flag laws. Okay. How many? Now, and I've been in that situation before, to where a significant other gets angry and then automatically calls the police, and the police show up and pull your guns away. It's going to be used. Okay. I've seen it before. That this is not a good situation, and these are the things that keep people from getting mental health. Sorry for switching gears back, but it's
we're gonna
we're all over the place on this show. Good luck following.
right, but don't worry about an outline. No, we were talking about that last week and how like social media could be used even. Go after the people on social media that are just crazy, batshit crazy, and easily pick those people off. Picking candy from a baby there. You were talking about staffing. Here in Wisconsin, out of our 72 counties, 55 out of 72 face a significant shortage. 20 out of 72 don't have any professional mental health nurse practitioners. Zero, zilch, none. 20. Most of them are up north. Of course, your density up there. There's one psychiatrist for Ashland County, Bayfield, and Iron County all together. The average age for a psychiatrist is 50 years old. Half of them are over 55. 25% of them are over 65. You've got a workforce that is declining. If you do not get into the colleges and start getting the youth into that career field, we're done. We're toast. Our work shortage is going to get worse. We're talking earlier about things. Project Recovery is one that I met last year. Absolutely amazing what this organization is doing for the farmers in Wisconsin. They've got them together. They're helping them with counseling. They've created farmer groups where farmers can get together. They can talk, anything to just have discussions. Farmers are stressed out. What Jake was saying earlier, they're losing everything.
When we're starting to see some of these small farms get squeezed up by the major corporate, think about this. Okay, these are family farms that have been around for 3, 4, sometimes 5 generations.
Yeah.
And the inflation and the state of the affairs within the country simply makes it impossible for them to continue. And they have to shut that down. Imagine being a fifth generation farmer, living in the same place that your dad, your grandfather, your great grandfather all lived and worked on, and you're the one who lost it. It's a terrible spot to be in. but it's not their fault. It's the actions of our government through the inflation of our dollar that has been inflated by over 96%. They're robbing you of 40% of your income. Right now, with the inflation and the gas prices that are going through the roof, what didn't it cost me? I filled up the work truck today. It was $200 for 3/4 of a tank of gas. Absolutely insane. So now what does that do? So now that actually drives up the cost for businesses to do business. If it costs more for businesses to do businesses, guess what? That gets passed on to the customer. Prices go up, especially when you're dealing with fuel. That ripples so many times.
Yeah, and it's getting worse too. There's another one called Hang Days that's out there for mental health options for women. That's another nonprofit. These are all nonprofits that people can go and just get up with. Hop onto Facebook. I guarantee you there's a lot of organizations in your area. I met a majority of them last year at county fairs. Absolutely amazing groups.
We got a good comment here, and here it says hardly friendly for the kids, 9 and under. So my son just went to the hospital for mental health issues, and he's only 9. It has a lot to do with our court system, GALs. And for those who don't know what GALs are, that's a guardian ad litem. It's an attorney assigned specifically by the state for your child to represent your child within family court matters. And I would agree. We can have an entire podcast on the family court system. I've
Julie, I hope you don't mind me posting that, but thank you for saying that.
Yes, yeah,
That happens a lot. GLs, guardian ad litems, aren't listening. They don't believe the parents or something like that. And if you look at some of the social workers that are out there as well, they're having a tough time. The social workers are dropping out of the business. They're leaving social work to go into administration. And what's left? When your good workforce leaves and you're left with crap because crap's not going to go get a job anywhere else, that's what you're left with. It's the hand-me-downs of the workforce.
yep.
That's what it is. The good ones are taking off and they're going to find other jobs. Yeah.
I get it. I get
it. Julie, let's reach out to each other, and maybe if you want to talk more, we can put you on your own show and you can tell your story.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun, doesn't it?
That does sound like fun.
Yes. Yeah. It's stories like that people need to get out and people need to hear. Mm-hmm. There's so many other. There's actually. Did you know there's grants that the state has too? So 55% of the psychiatrists accept private insurance. Oh wait, the grant portion. If you give out grants, in which they do here in Wisconsin. Oh shoot, I just had it. A lot of them are for doctors. A lot of them are for nurses. And there's not as many for mental health care. So if you give more grants to the people with mental health care, you're obviously going to get more mental health care. But the UW-Madison and the one over by Milwaukee, I'll find it here in a second, are the only 2 colleges, the Medical College of Wisconsin. There's only 4 programs, and there's 25 students a year. And the federal government has capped that number for residency programs. So they won't let us have any more students. So we are capped at 100 students a year. And we have this huge shortage, and we're not retaining them. The numbers don't add up. You have to fix that type of stuff in there. Oh my goodness. Let's get out of healthcare, buddy. Hit me up with Social Security now. I want to do some breaking news. I got some good ones. Social Security, what's pissing you off?
Social Security is a scam. Absolute scam. Okay, I mean, hold on. I think of it this way. So I've got a compound calculator here. Hold on, let me get her fired up. This is a very useful tool. You caught me a little off guard here.
Well, Social Security, we're beating up healthcare for too long. That's probably its whole show.
We did.
Oh, we should have brought Julie on for the show. She's already going off to the Social Security too as well. Social Security was created in 1935 by FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Back in, I think it was 1956, Eisenhower added disability to it. And in 1981, they started allowing intergovernmental holdings. So this is where they could start transferring money out of Social Security into other organizations in the state. So your defense retirement, your civil service retirement, FDIC, Medicare, highway funds, Social Security. Today we're about $4.8 trillion in debt out of our debt from intergovernmental holdings, from transferring money around. Social Security is about 2.5 trillion of that. Social Security will run out, I believe it was 2034. That's when our surplus is projected to end. 2034, so we got 12 years. I will not be on Social Security before then. So, yeah, that one's out.
All right. So
Cool.
Here's what I've
Go.
got. Okay. So your payroll tax that comes out of your paycheck that pays for your Social Security and stuff is 7.2%, right? So if you start out with a grand total of $100 and you invest that into the stock market and you make just $10 an hour your entire working career, okay? And you get an annual percent return of 8%, and you add in, hold on.
I got you, buddy.
I want to get the exact numbers here.
So you're starting with zero, right?
Yeah, there we go. Starting with zero. Hey, look at that. You got a fancy one.
How many years are you going to invest? This is Google.
That's
I got
Google? Oh, man.
No, it's American Funds Retirement. Retire.American Funds. There's all kinds of calculators out there. How many years are we talking?
Whole working career. So age 65, 18 would be 57 years. Hold on, that's not right. 65.
47?
48 years. Yeah, 47. So that was $0.
Okay. How much are we doing?
You put in $28 a week.
Doesn't your employer pay on that as well? So if you're paying the 7.2%, your employer pays portions of your Social Security as well. And I thought it added up to be like 12 to 13%.
I think that's your 401k they do the match on.
Okay, I'll play around with that. Okay, so how much are we talking a month? 48 or 28 times 2?
$28 a week. So $10 an hour times 40 hours is $400 minus the 7.2% gives you $28.88. So say $30 a week.
So 120 a month. Okay, cool. 8% interest, you said?
8% interest. Yep. What does that get us?
Dun, dun, dun. $680,000.
Yeah. That's a pretty good annuity coming out of that. Okay. You're going to get a lot more only if you make $10 an hour. That's only if you make $10 an hour. Now bump that up to $25. What's the 25? Hold on. Saving 20. So $20 an hour times 40 hours a week is 800 minus 7.2%. That's $56. Put $56 in there instead of that. Yeah.
But that's 56 a week.
56 a week.
Okay, so 224 a month. Let's do some calculations. Oh, that's only $1.2 million. Okay. So
Point being is Social Security is an absolute scam. It's a terrible investment that you are forced to invest in by law.
Okay, so if you took that 1.2 million, okay, now let's divide it by 20 years. Let's say you retire at 65, 8 years. We'll say 25 years.
There we go.
Divided it by 25 years. Oh, I went plus, didn't I? Oh, see, I screwed it all up, buddy. I'm already messed up. 1, 2, 6, 9, 5,
That
2,
might
9.
be the wine.
I'm only half a beer in. Divided by 25 years, divide that by 12 months. It's going to give you $4,200 a month. Now, your average Social Security that pays out right now is
What,
Where's it at?
$1,300? About $1,300 a month?
$1,657. That's the average Social Security payment. The maximum payment is $3,300. So if you did not use Social Security, if you did not have to pay into it, you could make more money by investing into this way than you would by using Social Security.
And that's even a low percent interest. 8%. I think the stock market over the last 100 years is what, 12%
It
on
is.
average year after year?
Yeah, but 401ks really aren't pushing 8% either. 401ks have been a joke. You know, everybody starts building up money, and then 2008 hits or a 2022 hits, and they lose everything. So
Yep.
it's
People are getting tired of that game too.
Yep. I know. Yeah.
So
We won't go down the investment road right now. That'll just piss me off.
So, moral of the story: government made a bad program again that is robbing you of your income when you could be using it to invest it better and wisely. So, like I say regularly, you know how to spend your money better than the government, and you know how to live your life better than the government. Period.
Because when you pay into it, all they're going to do is take money away from it to pay something else. And then you have to pay that back. Plus, you have to pay back interest on the money that they borrowed against themselves. So, yeah.
I believe they took that entire Social Security fund and bought bonds with it. They bought up our own national debt. So our government is actually in debt to our government. And yes, you heard that properly.
Yeah. I think out of the $4.8 trillion, $2.5 trillion is Social Security. So that's a trust fund, right? Your defense retirement, that's $850 billion. Your defense retirement, there's pensions. Civil service retirement, there's $900 billion that we borrowed against. They borrowed against. Highway, they borrowed against. Medicare, they borrowed against. These are all trust funds that we have to pay back again with interest. So we paid for it once, and now we're going to pay for it again with interest.
This is, please stop voting for Republicans and Democrats.
I don't
Please.
know how to say it.
Please. They're doing a lot of damage. I mean,
yeah.
you know, and here's where it goes. So I mean, I had a tremendous opportunity to go down and speak with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers last Monday, down in Menominee Falls, 2051, I believe it was. And there was a 10-person panel that were asking me questions, and I got to hit them up with libertarianism, which was brand new. And that was the first thing that we do as libertarians is we teach, because everybody is so busy working to survive that we have forgotten to be able to follow up on this stuff. So this is a whole rethinking and a whole reteaching of our country. And part of the problem is we are so busy working to survive that we're not able to keep tabs on our elected officials, and they have run roughshod on us. And this is it. Okay, we spent how long talking about our medical situations within this country and how that is a scam. Okay, these businesses have lobbied congressional members in order to buy themselves these protections in the medical industry and within the pharmaceutical industry. The Social Security program and Medicare, but this stuff has been robbed to buy up debt. Okay, this is not how this was supposed to go. We have entrusted these individuals with providing a better future for us. This social contract that we had has been broken. It is time for us to take a stand and to take our country back.
Well said, kind sir. Because consumers are at fault. Or no, I'm sorry. Consumers are taking the brunt of this shit. We're getting crapped on from their decisions. Yes. I love the libertarian perspective of going back local as an independent. All I ask is do me a favor, do it slowly. Because some of these local organizations are not set up for it. Oh my God.
No, and that's we couldn't pull a Band-Aid off. And don't get me wrong, it took us 250 years to get here. Okay, it's going to take some time working this back, but it does start with getting libertarians elected. We don't need new legislation. We need to start repealing the legislation that has infringed upon our rights. Okay, I don't want to go and pass new legislation. The legislation I want to pass is the repealing of laws. One of the laws that we could repeal right now that could tremendously help with our gas prices is repealing the Jones Act. Is anybody even talking about that at all?
Nope,
No,
they won't.
nothing.
Yep.
Okay, there's a tremendous amount of things that we can do, but all we're doing is arguing back and forth about maybe you should go buy an electric car, even though you're too broke to drive to work today.
Wait till they sell a shit ton of electrical cars, and everybody's like, "Holy crap! Why is my electrical bill so high?" All right.
In order we have the infrastructure to even produce enough electricity to power all the electric vehicles, because
Yeah.
they don't think that far ahead.
No. Check it out. I got a new button.
Yes.
Air horn is breaking news.
All right. It's the breaking news.
Southwest Airline pilots, they're getting mad. They're getting pissed off. They've had enough. 1,300 pilots are expected to protest in Dallas. They got a staff shortage. They're overworked. They're overtime hours. There's bad scheduling. Over 30% of them are getting moved around at the last minute so they can take other flights and stuff like that. They don't know their head from, yeah, I won't even say that. Summer tourism is kicking off. Oh, go ahead.
Would you have a button for that?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to swear though. Summer tourism is kicking off. They got over 1,200 flights that were just canceled on Sunday and Monday. Okay, pilots are only allowed so many hours a month by a federal regulation, or because they can't fly anymore, right? Safety. So they've cut so much staff at the beginning of the pandemic that they don't have back yet, and they've given the airlines, 10 major airlines, $37 billion the first time. $13 billion the second time. So they're up to about $50 billion that they've given the airlines. Now we say, holy shit. To run American Airlines costs $31 billion annually to operate. That's insane. I guess their operation costs are, I don't know. I think there's a lot of it cleaning it up, but that's good.
I don't even know where to begin.
So here, start with this one. Pete Buttigieg. There's our
the train guy, choo-choo train guy.
The guy that goes on maternity leave when we're in a national crisis.
Yeah,
U.S.
okay.
may act against airlines on consumers' behalf. So he's threatening to go after the airlines when the airlines don't have the staff, they don't have the resources, they don't have anything. They're canceling flights left and right because they don't have the people, like I was just saying, all the other shit. And he's going to go after them. He's going to make it worse.
The government only has government solutions to government-created problems, and those solutions, more often than not, are worse than the problems to begin with.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yep.
Okay, this whole entire administration is just a joke.
It's a shit show. I know.
It is.
Yeah. It sure is fun though.
It makes for good stories.
Yeah, it's maybe
But you can't even make this shit up. You really can't.
I know. Home prices hit a median of $407,600 in May. It's the highest ever. Okay, that's your average, right? U.S. existing home sales now has fallen for the fourth consecutive month. Okay, so the Fed's raising the rates and jacking up, the interest rates, which has started to slow the home selling. So that's in home buying. That's kind of nice, but there's so many other ways to fight inflation. The fact that they're just sitting back and letting the Fed do it is bullshit. So interestingly enough, the consumer debt today is approaching the record level of $16 trillion. The consumer debt today in the fourth quarter of 2021 was the highest since 2007. And we remember what happened in 2008. And here our debt is getting to $16 trillion. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to blame it on the consumers. They're going to say the consumers are in debt too much. But yet with inflation and gas prices, some people can't afford their goddamn houses and their gas and all the other stuff. So
now put this into, think about this. You just got done with college, you just got out of school, you just got out of trade school, and you're looking to buy your very, very first home. These prices are out of control.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you
I
can,
was driving up in Northern Door the other day, and I saw this little itty bitty trailer home, kind of falling apart, decent sized garage. Didn't know if there was acreage to it, but I mean, just a small little itty bitty place. So I quick Googled and looked up the actual realtor. Sitting on 10 acres, Northern Door County. Home's falling apart. Big, actually decent sized garage. I was thinking, you know what? From my past home buying experiences, this property is probably sitting around 70, $80,000. Not even close. 210,000. Okay. This was a run down mobile home that should have been burnt to the ground. Okay. And probably not, because I'm sure it was filled with asbestos and not a good decision to burn it.
I'm sure it's in store. People are using it for storage and filled with roaches too. So
Yeah.
you get free
Yeah.
pets.
And I was like, how is this? It blew my mind.
Yeah.
I cannot understand. Okay, think about that, because that's kind of the American dream. Okay, you get out of school, you get yourself a good job. What's that?
Owning a shitty mobile home.
No, buying your first home, not necessarily a shitty mobile home, but I mean, I was born and raised in a mobile home. That's where my family started. It was beautiful. Had great times. Got three brothers and one small bedroom. We got real close, real quick. But
Congrats, Julie.
yeah, congratulations, Julie. Congratulations. But that's kind of the American dream. You get done with school. And for guys, it's meeting that perfect girl. You get married. You buy your first home. You have some kids. And now the prices of the home and the home market is so high, and your wages and the inflation makes it so hard to try to survive, to even get to work. It's taking away that opportunity to actually be a homeowner for more and more and more young Americans. And they're getting mad about it, because chances are, okay, they're already paying more in rent than what it would be to actually buy and purchase a home.
They
Okay.
are.
They are paying $2,000 a month in rent. Then they go to the bank to try to get approved for a loan. And they're like, no, I understand you're paying $2,000 a month for rent, but we don't feel that you can pay $900 a month in a mortgage. It's not going to happen. Make it make sense for me, please.
Mobile homes have almost doubled in price too. So,
Really?
yep, mobile homes are shooting up. Breaking news:
Yay!
Governor Greg Abbott. He spent almost $3 million thus far in taxpayer money busing immigrants out of Texas. So he's had enough. He's like, I got to move them. That's roughly, they got an average of about $1,442 per immigrant. I don't know what the prices of bus tickets are, but pretty sure that's pretty expensive, about $1,400 per immigrant. But guess where he's busing them?
DC.
DC. Yes.
I heard this already, and I thought this. And here's what's funny. Here's what's funny. Everybody on the right champions are like, yeah, send illegal immigrants to the big blue cities. All the big blue cities are like, great, cool, bring them on in.
Yep.
They don't care. They literally do not care.
Yeah.
This was intended to be a slap in the face, and you are wasting taxpayer dollars. Stop it, please.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Breaking news.
Yay!
Yay. Wait, I gotta get a yay button. Janet Yellen says the U.S. and allies are discussing a price cap on Russian oil to depress Putin's revenues. What the hell are they going to be able to do when U.S. has already boycotted their oil? So how are they going to put a price cap on it? Okay. We know Germany is stuck with it. Germany's talking about starting up more coal plants to be able to compensate for the difference in energy, but yet they're going to take their 11% nuclear, they're going to take that offline because nuclear is not good, not safe, but yet the next country over, France, is 70% nuclear, so it doesn't make any damn sense. So I don't know what they're thinking, but so the Russian ruble has hit its highest since 2015. 55.44 rubles to the US dollar today. They've made 35.
Really?
Yeah, they made 35% gain this year. They're targeting Russia's rubles are targeting 70 to 80. That's where they want it to be.
And here's why that happened. Okay, they tied it back to gold.
Mm.
That's why.
Oh, they had no other choice, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was good. Russia's also opening up some more refineries. They're opening up wells that have been closed for a while. They're piping more oil through Ukraine than they were before the war. So they're selling more oil.
You got record profits after the sanctions. Russia is sitting beautifully. As
They are.
I
They're selling to, yeah. Yep.
India and China is buying up most of what they've got right now. But I wish people watched. Okay, you take the war off to the side. Okay, but just look at the actions that Russia took. Okay, they tied their dollar back to gold. Okay, they started opening up wells. They started building new refineries. We haven't built a refinery in the United States of America since the 70s. They're not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we waiting on? I understand there's this big movement to push towards green energies, and I get it. I would love to move towards green energies as well. I do think it would be really, really cool if we did away with fossil fuels, but there's a right and a wrong way to do this. In destroying the entire country from within to achieve the goal is not the right way to do it.
Yep. Yep. And there's, Julie's right. There's a lot of oil right here in the United States. They closed federal land. The Keystone is still piping oil. It's just not as much. They didn't do the Keystone XL, so they didn't enlarge it to make it bigger. There's actually more oil coming through Wisconsin than there is to the Keystone. So if we actually put a refinery up by Wausau, Wisconsin would be set. We wouldn't have to import from Illinois or Minnesota. It would be amazing, and it would solve your natural gas bullshit you're dealing with up north.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. That's my soapbox. Where's my next breaking news? Oh God, this one pissed me off.
Let's hear it.
This one pissed me off, Jake. Redfin. So Redfin is a company that does real estate, home sales brokerages. They're out of Seattle. Started up in about 2004. If you want to sell your house, you put it up there. They make like 1 or 1.5% on their houses. Cool. So they approved millions in executive payouts. At the same time, they did a crap ton of layoffs. This is what pissed me off. Okay, in 2021, we had amazing home sales all across the country, right? Everybody was grabbing homes. Interest rate was awesome. They wouldn't stay on the market for, a day or two?
Fast.
So they were gone like that. Yeah. So these jobbers laid off 470 employees, but at the same time, they gave these employees benefits or performance raises for 2021. So in 2021, just to throw it out there, I found out the company lost $118 million. In one of the greatest times to sell a house, the company lost $118 million. Their stocks in January started at $68. In December, they were down to $38. Today, they're down to $8.25.
How does that happen?
The bonuses that they gave out. Their CEO.
That's what killed them.
That could have been, yeah. Their CEO, Glenn Coleman, $300,000. Chris Nielsen, their CFO, Chief Financial Officer, $2.3 million. Adam Weiner, President of Real Estate Operations, $2.7 million. Bridget Frey, Chief Technical Officer, $2.2 million. Some lady that doesn't even work there anymore, who left in January, got $3.2 million. Elin Co. or something? Yeah. They gave out millions of dollars in bonuses, laid a shit ton of people off for their performances when they lost $118 million.
I don't even get a pizza for a bonus at work anymore. I mean,
yeah. I really need to have a job at a really good company where I can drive the damn thing right into the ground and destroy
it and then get a bonus for doing it. It'll be great.
Whoever
are those jobs on Indeed or LinkedIn? They must be on somewhere. I gotta start pulling my resume out.
Yeah. I just really want to send that email out. Whoever is shitting in the bathroom sinks, please stop. I got 2 more. Breaking news. Texas man is arrested. Oh, I love this one. Texas man is arrested for asking deputies to protect him from a drug supplier that's coming to collect his money. Okay. This guy is an absolute genius. I wish I had got his name down. He went to the police station in to turn in his supplier. He's like, no, this guy is coming to get me. I fear for my life. And the police started talking to him. He's like, yeah, no, I have my narcotics in the truck. Don't worry about it. He had 2 pounds of methamphetamines that he brought with him to the police station to turn in his supplier. And then when the police tried to arrest him, he started fighting back. So then they got him for resisting arrest. So
That's what you call. That's a bad day. That's a bad day.
he's an idiot. I love that one. That was one of my favorite ones.
I heard this old saying one time: "Is you can't fix stupid, but sometimes it just shows up at your door."
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one was by far my favorite. Yeah. Last one. Not my cup of tea, but the cocaine shipments. Okay, so this is over like in Europe. Cocaine shipment worth $83 million. Oh, wait, here it is. I'm slacking. Worth $83 million gets delivered to supermarkets by a mistake. Okay, so cocaine shipments, $83 million going to supermarkets. So over in Colombia, they loaded up crates of bananas, and that's how they were sending them out. So they sent them up there, and they were supposed to catch them in Germany, but they didn't. And they were addressed to Czechoslovakia. So they went over to Czech, and they started receiving them at multiple different supermarkets around the country.
Oh, shit.
So they started asking questions. All in total, there was 1,851 pounds of pure, uncut, powdered, packed cocaine.
Colombian Bam Bam.
Colombian Bam Bam. Global cocaine has doubled from 2014 to 2019. Surprisingly, it's doubled in 5 years. There's a drug problem going on. Then that was they're up to 1,784 tons that's estimated.
So then people trying to work all the extra hours, they need a little pick me up.
Maybe it's work from home. Maybe they're tired.
Something like that. And for those who don't know, Ritalin is like one molecule off from cocaine and perfectly legal to sell as long as you're a pharmaceutical company.
Ritalin. Is that like I'm sorry, I don't know. Is it an over-the-counter drug?
That's for attention deficit disorder.
Oh,
Ritalin and Adderall is very, very, very close to cocaine.
Really?
Speed. Yep.
There you go.
Now you learned something.
I can't wait to go inside and tell the kids.
Yeah.
Hey, yes.
Hey guys, check this out.
Right, yeah.
Here's what I learned tonight on the podcast.
Right. Like, yeah, you're done with the whole podcast. Yeah. That was the show, buddy. That was the show.
Fun as always. Fun as always. So those for you who don't know, go ahead.
Oh, really quick. If people get time, jump over to winnetwork.win, W-I-N network.win. And I started putting some stuff on there because one of the things that I had the hardest damn time to do as I was running for governor was finding information. So what I started to do is put all these organizations that are up there or that are out there on one site. And I've got a lot to go because there are thousands of organizations across Wisconsin. What I want to do is I want to reach out and get some videos. I've started just loading some stuff up and a brief description about them, but it's going to take a long time. This is going to be a year or two long process, but it's a one-stop shop for you to find information because I'm tired of the bullshit and the misleading information that's out there. You can go and talk directly to whatever side you want and find out the information. That's what you need to.
It's a pretty awesome project. And those who don't know, my name is Jacob Vanaplos, running for the 8th Congressional District. I'm also chairman of the Libertarian Party of the state of Wisconsin. And we are here to provide you not only a good time listening to our rhetoric back and forth, but a little bit of news on top of it. Teaching a little bit about libertarianism on the side as well. So thank you for joining us. We are live right here across social media platforms. Chasing Liberty with Jake, Jacob Vanaplos for Congress, and my personal page across Facebook, as well as Chasing Liberty with Jake across YouTube. And Jess, where you got this streaming as far as your end?
Oh, man. Hold on. I got a little ticker coming at you. I just learned how to do this the other day. You can catch me on Looking Forward. There you go, buddy. On the Looking Forward Facebook page, I got it on. Oh, geez. Got it on Telegram, Looking Forward with Jess Hisel. We got, you already said Chasing Liberty, Looking Forward with Jess Hisel up on the YouTube, Looking Forward Facebook page. I got it on the Twitter account, my Jess Hisel Twitter account. I put it over on Twitch. It's out there.
Excellent. The one thing that we do got to change on the banner here
Uh-oh.
is I am going to have to run hard for the primary because I had heard rumor. Don't know if it's true, but I heard a rumor that the Republican Party of Wisconsin is going to do a writing candidate to try to get me primaried out.
What do
Okay.
you need a primary for? I'm confused because you're libertarian and you're already in the ballot.
There's still a primary race. I'll still be listed in a primary election. People can still vote.
But there's only primaries for Republicans and primaries for Democrats.
You can still have a writing candidate.
Well, you could have 7 or 8 different writing candidates. It wouldn't matter because you're already on the ballot.
It'll be in November.
Yeah, you're already on the ballot because you got your signatures, so they can't touch you. There's nothing that they can do to mess with you.
I hope
because
you're right.
if you had a primary, it would mean I'm pretty sure double verified, but if you had a primary, it's because more than one libertarian are running, and you're going to primary within libertarians, so you only have one candidate running.
They told me I will be on the ballot for the primary.
Them don't know what the hell they're talking about. They have no idea.
You've been waiting to use that button, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple other buttons. I'll get to them. Yeah, I don't think that they can touch you, man. There's nothing. They can try to scare you all they want, but don't listen.
They're gonna pull some shady. They're gonna pull some shady stuff from now until the election, and then even after. Okay, right. I do believe I'm going to win this election, and they are going to contest it. They're going to dig in. It's all going to be there.
Yeah. Best thing that I found is reaching out to the WEC. There's actually some really good people over there. There's a gentleman named Richard. Absolutely love talking to this guy. He knew his stuff. Very smart man. He was awesome. He helped me out with a lot of information that I needed.
I was actually relatively impressed when, even in the contest and listening to the WEC, there's 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats. They kept reverting back to the voters counted. Okay, the voters spoke. This is what the voters' intentions were. They actually worked pretty hard to ensure that the voters' voice was heard and that was paramount over any bullshit that was trying to be done. So I can't say I was actually really impressed with that.
I think the WC has great workers. I think they got great staff. I think their leadership is jacked up. And I think the leadership across the state is jacked up. I think therein lies the problem.
Well, what it is, and that's one of the things that the Libertarian Party always advocates for, is for the reduction in the size of the government and for the reduction of all these agencies. Not necessarily because the people within those agencies are bad, but because these political parties utilize those agencies to badger and bully other organizations around. So what I had seen over and over and over again was the WEC was used by the Republicans and the Democrats to actually bully and badger third-party and independent candidates. That was their way to help get them booted off of the ballot. They were successful with one of our libertarian candidates to getting him booted off the ballot. And this is what we're talking about and why things need to change. Okay. What we see over and over and over again are the people with the best ideas are not the ones that are winning elections. The people who do the best fundraising are the ones who are winning the elections. So now we got a whole pile of people sitting in Washington, D.C. or in Madison that are really, really good fundraisers, but that's pretty much all they're good at. And now they're trying to legislate serious issues that this country is having, and they have no clue as what they are doing. And that is obvious everywhere that you turn. No, I'm not about to sit here and tell you that I know every detail about absolutely every nuance of every single industry within this entire country. But you know what I can do? I can listen. I can listen and to actually listen to how this legislation is going to affect you and your family and your organization. I can work to repeal the government out of your life because this is the stuff that is damaging your life. The time is now. The movement is here. Liberty and justice for all will win.
And follow the libertarian view as well. And as an independent, I'm telling you, I love to bring it back to the local idea. Take it away from the big state because they're just screwing it up, but just do it on a slower level. That's the only thing I would ask as an independent. So, yeah, you guys have fun. Oh, this is one from Julia. Fentanyl is a big issue all over. Narcan isn't working on people who OD on it. Hey, next week, want to do lobbying
You mean bribing?
or bribing? There's something called OpenSecrets.org, and I've been getting emails on them for a while now. Oh my God, they've been digging up some shit. But I really have to dig. I'll have to spend some time on it. I might not have time this next week, so we'll see. But I really want to dig into the bullshit that's happening here in Wisconsin. I know Ron Johnson's got a lot of stuff out there, but he's easy to get stuff on. That's
Yeah. And we were just the new Marquette poll just came out too, and it's not exactly looking hot for the Republicans in the state of Wisconsin.
no. Well, it's not looking hot for the Democrats either.
No.
No. That's why libertarians and independents are making a run.
I like every single time I pop up my chairman email, I have at least a dozen new members, and it just makes me smile.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really, really does. I got one email in there. It's an individual that actually left the Democratic Party that wants to run for office in 24. It's here.
Yeah.
We are growing. We are here for the fight. And I have never been more excited. And to be fully honest with you, I have never been more proud of the Libertarian Party of the state of Wisconsin, my campaign team. We just had an awesome parade that we attended on Sunday down in Chilton, where we ran out of materials to hand out. We ran out of literature. We passed out. Uh, I had 500 of my campaign cards with. We had another 1,000 or so of the Fox Valley affiliate cards, and we burned through all of that. When it was announced that I was running for the 8th congressional district, people were literally walking into the parade to grab my literature. Okay,
Because
you
people
want to talk? The people are done. The people are tired. Okay. I might not know everything about everything, but I can stand in the way and I will defend the Constitution of the United States. I will be your voice, period. That's what we need. I'm not going to be there defending my donors, okay, like the Republican Mike Gallagher is currently doing. I'm not going to be there defending the party. I will be there to be your voice. End of story. So thank you for joining us here tonight on another wonderful episode of Chasing Liberty with Jake and Looking Forward with Jess. And we look forward to meeting you back here next week, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. live, while we start talking about the future of Wisconsin and the United States of America. Thank you all, and God bless.
Amen. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care.